Hey friends, I hope you all are doing well. I am drinking some black espresso in my If You've Got It Haunted cup. Hey, what's up everybody? I wanted to talk to you today about the Jericho Rose. Also, if you hear my dogs barking in the background of this video at any point in time, I apologize. My Pikachu loves to go wild and crazy anytime I ever try to film, so love that for me. But no, today we're talking about the Jericho Rose. So you will see these sold at a lot of different botanicas or metaphysical stores, some new age centers, kind of just depending on how the establishments get down. You'll find these online, Amazon, eBay, You can find these multiple places. This craft, okay, all you're going to need is the plant, which is typically going to run you maybe between $5 to $12, depending on where you're getting it from and how big the plant is. And then you're going to need a bowl, some kind of container. I got mine literally from the dollar store for $1. I'd recommend getting like a good size glass container. You can get a really fancy one if you want, or you can get a kind of more plain one if you want. You don't need anything crazy huge, just something big enough to keep the plant in. And really, besides water, that's all you're really gonna need for this, aside from maybe some trinkets here and there. So this is what a Rose of Jericho looks like. The Rose of Jericho looks just kind of like a shriveled up little dead plant is what this looks like, okay? This is the bowl that I use for my Jericho Rose. $1, Dollar Tree. Nothing crazy. Nothing crazy. The Jericho Rose, this plant here, is typically used in workings around rebirth and resurrection. This is Jericho Rose, but you'll also hear this called the resurrection plant, the rebirth plant, the resurrection flower, the crucifixion flower, so on and so forth, right? But Jericho Rose, this is what it looks like. It's roughly like palm sized, I would say. This is a pretty standard size Jericho Rose. You can find some even smaller or even larger than this. And yeah, that's its roots there. And then this is like what the plant looks like. So I'm going to be talking about how I use Jericho Roses in my practice. If you use Jericho Roses differently, please comment down below and let me know, because I'd love to hear it. I know that some people use Jericho Roses for love and sex magic. I use them more for money and finances and prosperity work. So I'm going to be speaking on that end of this practice, but I've heard them to be used kind of for both. So when I get my Jericho Rose, I just got this one from our shop, so they come in these little bags. You want to save any of this loose plant debris, because you can add that to other candle workings, floor washes, powders, gree bags, mojo bags, whatever. Save that. That's good stuff. But I'm going to take this and, you can run some full moon water, some storm water, whatever, pour it over it, completely saturate the plant, or you can use some tap water. And I know that some witches are going to be gagged and losing their minds, but the fact that I'm saying that you can use tap water, yes, you can. It's totally fine. It's fine. You can totally use it. So you want to just get this plant nice and saturated, so you can take this to your sink, pour your special waters, or just use tap water. Get this plant totally saturated. And then what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting it into a container. So we're going to pretend that this plant is already wet. Then I'm going to take, a little bit of water from a cup, pour it over it, and just have a little bit of water sitting in here. I mean, like, maybe filling the water line up to there, just so the water kind of covers the bottom, because the plant is going to soak this up. After that, in about maybe 3 to 6 hours, kind of depending, this plant is going to actually open up. That's why it's called the resurrection plant, the resurrection flower, the flower of rebirth, because this plant kind of embodies this natural cycle of life and death and rebirth and so on and so on. So when you're using this plant in your magic, you're bringing that sort of energy into the working that you're doing. Now, I like to do this on the full moon. So you have the day before, the day of, the day after, right, to get this working going. So on the full moon is when I will open my Rose of Jericho, which means that you give it a good watering. Once this plant opens up, I'm going to take this, kind of hold the plant in there, but strain out the water or any pieces. And I will save that, and I will add that to like my floor washes, my mop water, room sprays, whatever, right? You can recycle these aspects of the plant. So this is going to open up, and your Jericho rose is going to expand 2 to 3 times its original size. So just kind of keep that in mind. This container is plenty big enough for this Jericho rose, and it will fill up the majority of this container. And they're really beautiful. They go from this kind of drab brownish color to this luxurious evergreen with sometimes even white flowers on them. I mean, they're really, really pretty. I'll see if I can insert a picture in this video. But once this is open, then I'm going to take like spare change from my wallet or from, you know, a spare change like coin jar or something, and I'm going to add a few dimes, nickels, quarters here and there. Sometimes I also add clear quartz or other crystals, but you don't want to overload the plant, you know, just like a small little handful. You're going to place that onto the plant. Now, when the moon is waning, because you've pulled the water out of the plant now, right? It's already open. You've pulled the water out. It's still open. You're going to add that in there. And as the plant dries out, it's going to actually close back up. So any dimes, nickels, quarters, crystals, whatever, that you had put inside the plant when it was open, the plant is now going to close it up. So on the next full moon, I'm going to water it again, and it's going to open back up. Now you want to be mindful, if you are using crystals with your Rose of Jericho, that they are water safe. Okay? So just make sure you do your research if you're adding crystals into the Rose of Jericho, because you are going to have to water the Rose of Jericho. So you want to be sure that you're not going to, the crystals that you're using aren't going to react negatively to being covered in water or dissolve or whatever, right? So do your due diligence, do your good research. But once on the next full moon, so it's been a full 28-day cycle, essentially, within this Rose of Jericho, and the Rose of Jericho has charged these coins, you can then take the coins that you had put into the Rose of Jericho on the last full moon out of the Rose of Jericho and then put new ones in. So new coins are then being charged, and you have the old coins that are already charged. You can take those out. You can put those in your piggy banks. You can put those in your wallet because they're charged talismans. You can use a Lucky Mojo charged quarter for your Aldi shopping cart, you know what I'm saying, to bring in that money magic. You can take some of these charged coins and replace change in a till. Like, let's say you work in a retail establishment or something where there's like a change till where you make change. You can put some of those charged coins into your till. What this is going to do is essentially give a resurgence and a rebirth of money, and good financial energy, financial money magic energy, the woo-woo of all that, into the establishment. You can also leave these charged coins at crossroads, graveyards, as offerings, on your money altars, right? Like, there's a lot of different purposes that you can use them with. You can put them in mojo bags. Like if you're making something to get a promotion or to get a job or da-da-da-da-da-da, you can add all this to it. So the Rose of Jericho is a really awesome plant that I highly recommend working with. I know that a lot of us this time of year in the Northern Hemisphere are really getting into more plant witchery and green witchery. And this is something that is kind of nice for everybody, right? Because the idea of this plant is literally to kill it and then bring it back to life. So if you're like, oh, well, Jasmine, like, I don't know, I'm not really good with plants, I can't really keep plants alive, that's totally fine, because you're not supposed to keep this type of plant alive. So like I said, if you guys have any other questions though about this plant, you know, feel free to comment down below or send me a message. I would really recommend it. It's something really fun, and kids really like it too, because you get to see it kind of come back to life. And it's just really amazing to keep this sort of energy in your space. And it's something also very simple and folkish and not ceremonial that you can do for the full moon. So until next time, you guys, blessed be.